All right, we are live. Hey, welcome to today's Q&A. This is a trucking Q&A for Decker Truck Line. If you're brand new to our format, our platform, I'd like to welcome you. So, my name is Jesse. I'm here with Decker Truck Line. I've been with the Decker since 2010 when we opened up our Missoula, Montana terminal. But Decker has been around since 1931. Like actually before that even. So been around for quite some time. And to kind of give you a backstory, it's family business. And so when it first initiated at Fort Dodge, Iowa is where it's from originally. Hey, Katie. Fort Dodge, Iowa. And the Decker family began it there. It became a brother partnership, and then an uncle, father, son partnership, and then the eventually moving down the line, and we've got, of course, Dale and Don, who many of you guys are familiar with here at Decker. So yes, that's the little bit of history. I've been pretty vague, but if you're unfamiliar with Decker Truck Line, welcome. Thank you guys for joining me. Really, every week we offer this opportunity for you to ask your questions, get them answered, find out a little bit more about the opportunities here at Decker, and if it's a good fit. Making sure that before you make the move, that you know what kind of positions we have available, the benefits and the amenities that we offer, of course, for all of our professional drivers and the support staff that you'll have behind the scenes, and the team that we've got, the teamwork we've got that makes it happen for you. We have been, so I kind of transition into that, but we've been named one of the top 20 best fleets to drive for the last 3 years, something we are very, very proud of and hope to continue on with that title. But throughout that, we've been able to learn quite a bit about our internals and how others see Decker and what they appreciate of the company and really the family feel that you get. And I know that kind of sounds, in some cases, that has been said too many times. But here at Decker, we definitely value our professional drivers. We value our in-house and all of those who are making up the team, that support each other. So I'm going to kind of go a little bit more on some of the different dynamics and different changes that we've made here at Decker in the last couple of weeks, and we'll be continuing to work on. So I'd like to share with you those. That's a lot about what these Q&As are, is for some of the company policies and updates and stuff like that here at Decker. But as always, if you have questions, put it in the chat. It's all about what we can offer you for information. So if you're wondering about a specific position, put it in the chat. Let me know where you live. Give me a zip code. I'll give you an idea of what we have available out of your area, what the home time is, and benefits, running lanes, home time, all that good stuff. So we'll go from there. Sound fair? Dang right, it sounds fair. Danny, how are ya? On some home time. Good. Well deserved, I'm sure. That's fantastic. Well, here at Decker, we have definitely had a few changes. We are developing our driver leaders. And with driver leaders, if you're not familiar with that, we've had our fleet managers and our driver managers for quite some time. We're up in our game. We are making sure that we have higher accountability for our driver leaders, which, again, many of you are familiar with more of the fleet manager, driver manager dynamics. And this is going to be very similar, except the accountability is going to be a lot higher. So it's a higher level of accountability. We'll have more of a focus on things that are important to our professional drivers. So of course we're always looking at bottom line, always looking at the stability and stuff like that. But miles have been really for the last year and a half. We're coming out of the pandemic where they were skyrocketing, and then industry wide people were feeling the fall. So we're kind of switching our gears here to make sure that we are really focusing on these things that are important to our professional drivers. Yes, we pay the minimum pay, or we have a minimum pay, I should say, of kind of a safety net for you so that you know what you're going to make on a weekly basis, at least what you'll make on a weekly basis. Side note, you're going to make the better of the two, either your miles and rate of pay per mile that you're running or that minimum pay. But that said, we want to make sure that we're maximizing. We're always wanting to do better, and with the suggestions and just giving us a heads up, some of our professional drivers are like, we need these miles. How are we going to be able to get these up? And so that's definitely a big focus for us. Home time, there you go, Danny. Home time is another one. Making sure that we can really hold to the home time promised, and if not better, and really knowing our locations even more. A couple weeks ago, we introduced you to our team that is really, they look at the analytics of everything, knowing the numbers. And with that team, we're going to have a better understanding of what areas we can serve and hire more professional drivers out of. So if we have professional drivers out of one specific area that we need to increase freight, we'll know that. We'll know by how much. We'll know how we can better serve them and what kind of home time they're looking at. And instead of we've done digging before, but now we're really diving deep into it so that we've got a better expectation for you and you have a better understanding of what the position is. So I'm pretty excited about the changes, because even though changes sometimes give me a red flag and make me think, oh, how is that going to affect me? What does that mean for me? What does that mean for me? Well, for our professional drivers, I want to give you a little bit of peace of mind here. It isn't so much what you're going to be expected to do. We're not naming, or we're not putting a list of tasks together that are going to increase what you're doing. We expect you to do the same thing that you've been doing. We want positive communication with your driver leader. We need that. We know that that's important. You know that that's important, and that's been something that you guys have stressed over and over, and that's what we've stressed over and over, that the communication lines, they have to be open. We have to be able to talk. So instead of having to go to all these different people for all these different things, we've got this driver leader that is really your main hub, and they are there to be accountable to you as well as to management, but to you, and the accountability level is a lot higher than what it was before. But for you as a professional driver, we're not looking for you to have a gazillion more things to do. No, we want you to focus on the things that we've discussed in the last several months, 2 years, since 1931, right? You need to know your hours of service. You need to be on top of it. You need to do your pre-plans and your post trips, or your pre-trips and your post-trips. We need you to be safe. Plan out your day. Know what you're doing. Where are you stopping? Do you have a washout? If you're going to need a washout, have you already contacted them? These are things that you're going to do on a regular basis anyway, but we want to just give you some peace of mind that it's nothing more than what you're already doing, if not maybe at a higher level, but it's the driver leaders that we're looking to up the game and make sure that they're doing the best to support you as a team member, not necessarily, hey, you need to do this, this, and this. So give a little peace of mind, because I know when things start changing, we all get worried that, hey, what's happening? What does that mean for me? What do you expect? It's all right. We expect to take better care of you. That's what we expect. So it was ultimately designed, this driver leader position ultimately focuses on our driver-centric service versus, just getting you the load. Here's the load. There you go. Moving on. Next. No, it's getting those check marks for you instead of, just flying by the seat of your pants. All right, a little better. Hey, flatbed trucker, how are you? Doing great and on his way home. See, there you go. We got some people headed home. A little bit of downtime. That's good. But yes, the open communication is fantastic. If it's something you're concerned with, don't be afraid to reach out to your driver leader and find out. What does that mean? The things that you're accountable are the things that you've been accountable before. The things that are controllable. Like I said, some of those things aren't controllable, and we talked about home time and miles, and those are the things that the driver leader is stepping up on. So, anyways, wanted to give you a little bit of background on what all that is, and we'll continue to see some changes here for the better. But speaking of changes for the better, we've got our CSA numbers run out. If you didn't already check those out, please go ahead and do so. We're going to continue to stay on top of the hours of service. You're always looking at hours of service, all those different categories, maintenance, unsafe driving. Those are all things that you want to stay on top of, and we'll continue. So what am I missing? CSA, unsafe driving, hours of service, driver fitness, controlled substance and alcohol abuse, vehicle maintenance, crash indicator, all of those ISS. Those are all things that we're quite well aware of, and we always want to see increase in the hours of service. For us, the biggest reminder that we need is to make sure that we are doing our verification, our certified, like with on the electronic logs. Make sure you're certifying your logs, verify them, and that's what needs to be done in order to make sure that they're valid. That simple little task. So make sure you're doing that. We'll be way better off. Shout out to the 11. We had 11 violation-free inspections this last week. So we paid out $550 on the violation-free inspection. So shout out to all of those who earned it. It's an extra $50 a piece. That's what it is, an extra $50 for anybody who gets a violation-free inspection. And if you have any questions on that, let us know. But what happens is you get your inspection, it gets over to the payroll department, they get that extra $50 with those. You get that extra $50 with the clean inspection. So stay on the safety game. Speaking of safety, we have our quarterly training that is up next week. If you don't get it done by Wednesday of next week, then you're behind. I think most everybody has got it. I think there's only a couple that are behind. So, let us know if you have any other questions. Really do appreciate it. Let's talk about some of the available positions that we do have here at Decker. We've got some flatbed opportunities. We have refrigerated opportunities currently right now. And for our over-the-road flatbed, we do require 6 months of flatbed experience. So 6 months of flatbed experience or a year of tractor-trailer experience. And with the year of tractor-trailer experience, we can train you for flatbed if that's the position that's in your area. Again, if you're wondering about what's available in your neck of the woods, best thing to do is throw your zip code into the chat so that I can say, oh, hey, this is what we have. No need to worry about the extended experience if you're in an area that we have refrigerated or maybe even Midwest flatbed where we can train. So, yes, very, very important. And then thanks, Katie. I'm going to actually address that here in just a little bit. I really appreciate that. So in the Midwest, we do require 6 months of experience. However, if you're a recent graduate of an approved school, we can train you in flatbed or refrigerated. Those are the two positions that we currently have available, are flatbed and refrigerated. In the flatbed position, in the flatbed division, we have home weekly, and that's the $14.50 a week. If you live in Mason City, Iowa, if you live in Iowa City, Chicago, Milwaukee, those are all areas that we currently have the home weekly opportunity. In our over-the-road flatbed division that's based out of the Midwest, we can get you home every other weekend. Now, for flatbed, this is a little bit different for flatbed versus our refrigerated division. With flatbed, we can get you home on, say, a Friday night or a Saturday morning, and then back out either Sunday night or a Monday morning. So you've got the weekend that you can spend at home for home time. Now, in the refrigerated division, it's a little bit different. The way that the refrigerated freight runs, and many of you guys already know this, but the way that our refrigerated freight runs is it sometimes is running on a Saturday or Sunday. So I can't guarantee you home on a Saturday or Sunday in the refrigerated division, but you're more likely to be home on the weekend in flatbed. Plus, with our minimum pay qualifications, you'll see how that kind of lines up with home time on the weekend for flatbed. All right, so actually, let's go over those minimum qualifications. Our minimum pay is the safety net, basically, that I was talking about. I call it a safety net. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's my budget line. So if you are in one of our over-the-road positions, most likely you're at $1,000 minimum. I think that's where we're at for the majority of our positions. So it's $1,000 minimum pay. And you get either that minimum, a safety net, or you get your rate of pay per mile and the miles that you run. So if you ran 2,000 miles and you're 2,000 miles and you're at 61 cents a mile, then you're going to get $1,200 instead of the $1,000. Now, keep in mind the numbers that I'm giving you gross pay, not net pay. Net pay, there's way too many variables, like what you claim, what insurance you have, there's a lot of variables. So I'm giving you gross. We can kind of estimate your net in a one-on-one discussion, based off of what you're claiming and kind of give an idea. But I can actually give you numbers for gross. So that's where I'm going with that one. Hey, Jeff, how are you? Mr. Jeff Parker. So to kind of give you a little bit more detail on this minimum pay, if, like I said, if you ran 2,000 miles for the week, you're making a little over $1,200 for the week with your gross pay. Part of that is taxed, and the other part is per diem. You get 10 cents per mile per diem. Okay, so if you ran 2,000 miles, 200 of that 1220 or whatever is per diem. Make sense? All right. Okay, the rest of it's taxed. Now, let's roll back a little bit, and let's say you only made the minimum, a minimum of the $1,000 for the week. You still have a portion that is not taxed because you still have a portion that's going to be considered per diem. It's going to be based off the miles you ran. But say you ran 1,500 miles instead of 2,000 miles. By the way, these are easy numbers for me, so that's why I'm using these. But say you run 1,500 miles instead of 2,000, so you have 150 of non-taxable income versus 200 of non-taxable income because 1,500 miles, and the 10 cents per mile per diem. Make sense? All right. So, and with 2,000 miles, you'd be at $200. So the 2,000 miles at 10 cents per mile per diem. That's not taxed. So the difference between the minimum pay of $1,000 and your minimum pay of $1,000 and your tax and what you earned with your mileage. So if you ran the 1,500 miles and you at 61 cents a mile, you made $915, right? But there's a gap here. Between $915 and $1,000, you have $85. There's an $85 difference. Decker is going to cover that difference because of that minimum pay, right? Now, say you ran 2,500 miles, right? So at 2,500 miles at 61 cents a mile, you're looking at over $1,500. So here's the minimum pay of $1,000, but you ran 2,500 miles, so you're up here, Decker doesn't have to make up the difference on that one, right? And so you're getting the $1,500 or $1,525 for your rate of pay per mile and the miles you run versus that minimum pay. So you're getting the better of the two is where I'm going with that. But you do need to make sure that you're covering or that you are following or meeting those qualifications, the criteria. They're pretty basic, but you still need to meet them. Be available for dispatch at least 5 days out of the week. With a flatbed, and this is what I was referring to, with flatbed freight, Monday through Friday is when you need to be available. Saturday and Sunday usually are off for flatbed. So you might be coming home on a Saturday or leaving out on a Sunday for an early Monday morning delivery, but you're driving usually Monday through Friday. With refrigerated, it could be really any time of the week. So, but you do need to be available at least 5 days out of the week. So flatbed, it has to be Monday through Friday. In the refrigerated, it could be, Saturday through Thursday. Okay. All right. So be available at least 5 days out of the week. No load refusals. So don't turn down any loads in order to qualify for the minimum pay. No late loads. No CSA violations. No preventable accidents. And last but not least, because it's definitely something to keep important, is get your paperwork in on time. So that's the 6 criteria. That's it. Get your paperwork in through your TransFlow app, either on your phone or on the tablet, and get that in by Tuesday night. It's Tuesday, so get it in by tonight in order to get paid Friday for it. And again, you're going to get the better of the two, whether it's your mileage pay and your miles or your minimum pay. You have either. Or you have the better of the two, as long as you meet those minimum qualifications. That's the important part. Who's your Buddha says, what about my area? 45013. So it looks like we've got a couple of options out of there. Give me a sec here. I was going to look up where that is. 45013. So we've got refrigerated and we've got flatbed. Do you have a preference whether it's refrigerated or flatbed? Because, so out of Ohio there, so with refrigerated or flatbed, we can get you home on a weekly basis in flatbed. Yep, I had to double check, but we can get you home on a weekly basis in flatbed. And in the refrigerated division, we can get you home every 2 to 3 weeks in our over-the-road division, or every 11 days with 3 days home in our more regional division. So let's talk about the difference between those divisions, since you're kind of like, with the 6 years flatbed. Okay, well, let's focus on flatbed, and then I'll transition over to refrigerated here in a little bit. With the flatbed, 6 years of experience, you'd be at 65 cents a mile to start. Jeff. You'd be at 65 cents a mile to start. Again, 10 cents per mile is per diem. So let's use your numbers, all right? With that division, you're looking at about let's say 2,500, 23 to 2,500 right now for miles. So at 2,300 and at 65 cents a mile, you're looking at $14.95 a week. Now, if you didn't meet that $14.95, if you didn't get the mileage to get that $14.95 a week, then you have that safety net. But you can get home on a weekly basis, like I said, coming home on a Friday night or a Saturday morning, or coming back out Sunday night or Monday morning, or you can come home every other weekend if you want to stay out a little bit longer as well. So that's another option in your area. We do have both of those options. As far as trying to think of running lanes for you. Most of the running lanes in the upper Midwest, or for somebody who lives in the upper Midwest who wants to get home on a weekly basis, stay within Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, PA. You might run some Kansas, especially the Kansas City area, parts of Missouri. Not as likely to get into Texas and Oklahoma, but we do have runs down in there, so I wouldn't be totally surprised. Definitely Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan. Am I missing any? Those are all areas that you'd see quite a bit, maybe even Kentucky. Now with our over-the-road flatbed where you're out more than 5 days at a time, then yeah, pretty much anything east of Denver. So up and down the Midwest, on over to Texas, from Texas to the Carolinas, up north, Kentucky. Tennessee is a great spot for us as well. Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania. We don't do a whole lot of the New England states. We do run up there every once in a blue moon, but most of it's going to be south of there and a lot of Midwest in both cases. So, yes, if you have questions and you want to speak to a recruiter, before I forget, that's the number to the recruiting department, 877-433-2537. 877-433-2537. Easy way to remember it is 4-Decker, 877-4-Decker. What's the minimum? The minimum is $1,000 a week. $1,000 a week. Mm-hmm. And again, the qualifications for that are make sure you're available at least 5 days out of the week, no load refusals, no driver service failures, get your paperwork in on time, no CSA points, and no preventable accidents. A week-by-week basis. So if you didn't get your paperwork in on 1 week, that's not going to have any weight on any of the other weeks. Okay, that's what the minimum pay is. And as for the over-the-road, let me back up. Also, Hoosier Buddha, you also get a penny raise after 90 days, and you'll get a raise every year on your anniversary as well until you cap out, which our current cap is at 70 cents. So you've got a few years, but because you'd start at 65, I think is what I said, and then you get a raise at 90 days and then annually. Cool? All right. Now our trucks for our flatbed division, we have some mostly 579 Peterbilts. We do have some 740 Volvos and a few Freightliner Cascadia Evolutions. They're all newer model trucks. They're very, very well maintained. You'll see obviously by the year and maintenance of the trucks that they're pretty sharp. Shout out, by the way, to all of you who have sent in pictures. We really appreciate those. And I like to kind of save them for the calendar that we do every year as well. But okay, anyways, we have Peterbilts, Volvos, and Freightliners for the flatbed division. And they come pretty well equipped. We have TVs in trucks, and most of the trucks I shouldn't say most, because I'm not positive where we're at on the numbers, so I'll have to double check. But we've been transitioning from the Epic View satellite TV that has the white dome on the back of the sleeper to the Epic View Plus, which is a streaming platform. So it's in the truck or in the sleeper. I think it's actually the closet, and it's just a smaller unit. It's a lot faster. It provides Wi-Fi. Still Jeff says, great equipment. Yes, it is definitely good equipment. We've got double bunk trucks. The streaming platform, by the way, the Epic View, that has 100 plus channels, HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, and yes, Sunday Ticket. And then we have microwaves in the truck. We have refrigerators, APUs, of course, and inverters to run those things. We have CB units in the truck. We do have safety feature, our Lytx system, which does include both inward and outward facing event recorders. The inward ones come on during critical events. The outward ones are on. Now, when you turn the truck off, the inward one shuts off right away, where the outward one shuts off after 4 hours. So if you are in a parking area, then you've got a little bit more coverage for you, right? Like I said, they're double bunk trucks. What am I missing for the amenities? We do have a lot of amenities, so sometimes I skip a few, but they're very, very nice trucks. And then with the refrigerated divisions, we have similar or the same amenities. However, with the refrigerated, you're looking, of course, at the 579 Pete's. Those are the majority of our trucks. But we have some 780 and 860 Volvos instead of the 740s, obviously because of the sleeper or because of the headache rack. And then we have, and then the Freightliner Cascadia Evolutions. Yeah, so we've got the same there as well. but they are very well maintained. As far as trailers, we have the Great Danes and carriers, and then with the Wilsons for our flatbed as well. Sirius Radio, Jeff says Sirius Radio. Yeah, actually, I see fewer and fewer people using those because we do offer streaming on the trucks because of especially with the Wi-Fi, but we do have all of the equipment and everything for the Sirius Radio. You would have to have the subscription for the Sirius Radio, whereas with the Epic View, the TV and the Wi-Fi, we hold that subscription. Decker holds that subscription. So that is a little bit of a difference. Sirius Capable Radio. There you go. That's exactly right. Sirius Capable Radio. I always forget the word capable on that one. I do, for real. But yes. So with the refrigerated division, just kind of give you a little bit idea of the lanes there. In our 11 days out, if you live in somewhere within the Midwest, you usually have an option of coming home every 11 days instead of staying out 2 to 3 weeks. So it's a little bit longer for our over-the-road division. Now, obviously, your home time is going to be reflective of your time out. So if you're out for 11 days, you're home for 3. If you're out for 2 to 3 weeks, you're home for 4 or 5 days. It's a day and a half for every 7 days out. Flatbed Trucker says, are they smart TVs? Are all smart TVs. They're 22-inch, I believe. Which, if I'm correct, I thought you said you had a larger TV than that when you had put yours in before. I thought you had mentioned that you would put one in your own. Anyways, yeah, they're 22-inch TVs. Everything's all installed for you, so it's good. All right. What else can I tell you about that division? The over-the-road refrigerated runs coast to coast. We don't, in all of our divisions, make this very clear, in all of our divisions, we don't do a whole lot of the New England states. We don't. We have an ice cream load in southwestern New York, so south of Buffalo. I know we have ice cream there. I know we have an ice cream load in Laurel, Maryland, but we really don't do a whole lot of the New England states. Most of it is going to be up and down the Midwest. For the over-the-road division, we do a lot out west, like Washington, Montana, Idaho, Utah, up and down I-5 from California up to Seattle. Northern Oregon's good for us. Pendleton, Hermiston area, Portland, of course, as well. So those are really good areas for us. As far as the more regional position, you'd stay, for the most part, east of Denver for the refrigerated division. Yeah. Still over the road, just not coast to coast. So you're just not running out west, basically. Give you an idea. Fair enough. All right. Benefits for both refrigerated and flatbed divisions start after 60 days. They do include a 50% match on the 401k. So we offer a 401k through Principal Financial. And then we have tons of benefits that go along with it. The amount of benefits in the last couple of years have increased. The coverage-wise have increased. We've added the Regenix, which is great for somebody who, like, if you've had some knee issues, joint, wrists, spine, hips, knees, ankles, shoulders. What am I missing? But if you've had any of those issues, Regenix might be an option for you versus surgery. So that's something that you can check out here at Decker. More stem cell. And then we also have increased coverage for our prescriptions. We have $0 generic, plus we have an option for $0 brand name and $0 specialty, which can be a huge savings. Anybody who knows, like if anybody's on prescriptions, monthly prescriptions, and you've been paying for those for some time, and you know how expensive those are, you'll recognize how much savings that can offer you. I mean, thousands of dollars, possibly even thousands of dollars a month too for some of you. Hopefully not many of you, because that's never fun to have that bill. But with the $0 copays, that's been a huge benefit to a lot of our professional drivers and our in-house beeps. So, what What else am I missing for benefits? Medical, dental, vision. We have long-term and short-term disability. We have, of course, life insurance. So yeah, a whole thing starts at 60 days, and yeah, both for the insurances as well as for the 401k. There we go. Excellent. Cool. There looks like we had a few questions come in, not here in our chat, but we had questions come in about our driver leaders that if you weren't on here when I first started talking today, and you know how long-winded I am, but if you weren't on right initially, I wanted to make sure that I addressed some of these questions that we were asked. We changed over to a driver leader structure, which is a little bit different than a lot of you guys are used to, and so we'll be giving you that update. The driver leader structure is, so our fleet managers, our driver managers, we're basically requiring more out of them. We have our driver leaders who are doing more accountability. They're looking more at things that how it'll affect you. And that's including your miles and your home time and utilization. Their role is really designed to enhance a lot of those things that we're already doing on a daily basis. But I know some of the concerns that I was hearing are, will this mean that we are going to be micromanaged? No, not at all. You're just going to be getting better support. You're going to have somebody who can make a more definite answer instead of having to go up additional levels in order to get an answer for you. You still need to have the communication, and maybe even better communication. You want that, right? I mean, we're always striving to have better communication, both from the support as well as from the professional driver. And then you're still focusing on the accountability for your hours of service, your safety, you're still maintaining all of those all of those controllables, right? Where Decker, the driver leaders, are going to be more focused on the higher level of accountability of your miles and your home time and stuff like that. So that's really the difference. But I saw a couple of questions coming in, and thanks, Kitty, for sharing this. That's what I was trying to say. It says, what kind of authority will the driver leader have over me? Very similar to your fleet manager or driver manager. They over you, I'm not sure if that's the right way to say it, because really they're there to enhance. Like I said, they're there to support and to collaborate with you, not tell you what to do every single minute. That's not their thing. It's more about leading you, yes, but having that leadership collaboration with you in order to make sure that we're getting the miles. We know what you're needing. It's the communication of knowing what you're needing. The other questions, hang on, I'm bouncing back and forth on this. Will this driver leader affect the amount of distance of runs I'm assigned? They are going to be looking at those for sure. That's all part of it. I mean, they need to be looking at the miles that you need, the miles we can get you, and your home time. But those are all discussions that you're going to have with them, so they know what kind of home time you're needing, and what home time we can meet, right? So we've got that assignment, but it's not, it will affect, yes, but just as you currently have the ability to affect my paycheck or bonuses in any way. Well, the effect that they'll have will be better, because they're holding themselves and we're holding them to higher standards, and those higher standards are going to be to help you. So I mean, kind of, yes. And what we'll do is we'll reach out and make sure that we're getting even more detailed answers for you as well. And then as for if there were problems or whatever that arise, let me get back to you on that one to make sure that I've got the right chain of command for you, if that makes sense. I imagine that going to your director will be the go-to, but we'll get back to you on that one to be sure. Fair enough. Those are great questions, by the way. Thank you guys for doing that. And like I said, the other one was any other questions we have, feel free to send over to us. You can send them to info@deckermail.com. You can send them into suggestions@deckermail.com as well. I thought I saw one other question. Yeah, we're not asking more of you. I mean, obviously you can continue to improve in areas, but we're not asking you to have more responsibilities or anything like that. It's more about the accountability of the leader, your driver leader, not about your individual workload, if that makes sense. But yeah, it should be a great opportunity for us, great change. Jeff said, I noticed they are. Yeah, that is, I'm not sure if 100% of them are registered, but yeah, that is something that has changed. Now, still corporate, the main terminal is still in Fort Dodge, but we've got the terminal in Hammond as well. So, yeah. Always looking at the best way to go about it, right? The best way in the long term. Excellent. All right, so I think we answered all the questions on there. If I'm missing anything for questions, please feel free to reach out to us, either here on the chat. I'll continue to monitor that, or get a hold of our recruiting department at 877-433-2537. And again, if you are a current professional driver here at Decker, don't hesitate to reach out to us at suggestions@deckermail.com or info@deckermail.com for more answers to your questions, because we've had a lot of changes going on, and so I'm sure you have the questions. I like to address them on the lives because if you have the questions, so does somebody else, but we can't always, and we try to foresee what your questions might be, so I have those answers for you ahead of time. But if I don't, get me those questions, and then I can get you the answers if I don't already know them. So please do so. Awesome. All right, you guys. Well, that's it for me for today. I look forward to visiting with you later next week, and then of course later this week here on our TikTok channel too. So we'll go live there and visit a little bit and give you some more details about what we have here at Decker. If I have more information on any of the updates that are happening, we will give them to you either next week or we'll hop on another live to fill you in. But you guys have an awesome rest of your day.